Hello and welcome to the Coaching Podcast, Coaching for Success in Sport and Business. Your host is Emma Doyle, the energy and high performance under pressure coach who is a world leader in unleashing human potential. Buckle up for this high octane session. Let 'em have it, coach.
G'day everybody and welcome to the Coaching Podcast. I am very excited today to kick off 2025 with this interview. My good friend Øivind Sørvald, and we were in Norway last week that we sat down for coffee? I think it was last week. Øivind, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for inviting me, and it was nice meeting you here in Norway.
Yeah, it was an absolute pleasure to be there. You are, of course, the Director of Development for the Norwegian Tennis Association, coach educator for the French Federation for more than 40 years experience, playing, coaching, conducted coach education courses that I've been a part of, especially with the PTR. Can't wait to talk about that. And of course, with all your work with Casper Ruud over the last 14 years. Look, I'm going to kick it off with our season 7 pattern break question, which is, what does tennis mean to you?
You know, it was, looking back into when I started to be a coach when I was 18, 19 after an ice hockey career, I think that it's meant everything for me. It's like so important, and not important because I was not really a great player myself, but, tennis for me is like, it's like a lifestyle. It's something you do every day. You get up in the morning and you look forward to meet new players on the court, and you meet parents, you meet coaches, and you try to help them and to get a better life on the tennis court and also besides. So tennis for me has been a lifestyle now for more than 40 years. So I can say that it means a lot to me.
Yeah, absolutely. And I love the way you just brushed over that. Did you say ice hockey career? I mean, can we just like rewind the clock? That's something I didn't know.
No. So I started being an ice hockey player, for many years up till 17, 18 years old. And that gave me like a little bit of the background. So I did not really play tennis until I was 16, when I was in high school. So I think that was a good base for, moving around and being quite athletic on the court. So I played okay tennis when I was in the 20s. And beside being a coach, I think that was my career after a very nice and very interesting ice hockey career.
And what did you have a coach when you were playing ice hockey? Did someone from your early days as an athlete, did someone stand out in your mind? And what was the quality about them that you admired?
Yeah, the atmosphere at the ice hockey club when I played was, a coach that saw all of us, gave us an individual feedback, and was into coaching and teaching all the time. I mean, and that gave me that information about, you can learn everything in life if you just do things step by step. So that was my first coach. And then later on, I met Dennis Vandermeer when I was, around 20, and he talked about the same way. So those two guys meant a lot to me because, it was such important to learn new things and to stay motivated. And that's what I learned also for my coaching career, that, my background from tennis and, of course, ice hockey was super important.
So 2 things I want to pick up on there. The first is there a difference between coaching and teaching? Or do you see them as the same thing?
No, I would like for coaches to teach more. That's my whole package these days. I think that's what I talk about. That's what I do. That's what I want all coaches. Doesn't matter what level they're on. That something had to happen. There must be something going on every day, and I think the teaching part where if the kids or the players don't master things, you probably have not been teaching. And that's why, you can coach, but, coaching is something a little bit more, it's a little bit broader thing, but teaching is something specific. And that is where I think we have to, within our coaching, we have to teach more. And that's what I learned, that you can learn things you know, that you probably did not know that you could do. But if you are coached right by the teaching method, I think that that's how you learn things, and that's the key element, I think, in for the future. I think that, you know, we have to teach more. We have to make sure that experience and people learn on a daily basis. And but again, you can teach, but the kids don't have to learn. So you have to look at yourself and see if maybe you can observe what can you do differently, because too many coaches, I think, are looking at this is the way I do it, and some players you know, learn from that methodology that they do, but other ones don't do that. So then you have to switch a little bit to make the teaching better for everyone getting on the court with you. So that's a key element of the future that I think was you know, the what I learned very early from my mentors is the teaching aspect, and you can all everyone is it's a coach these days, but within coaching, I think teaching is more or less, you know, what I think is the key factor for being the really good coach.
I think the second thing I wanted to pick up on, you said the two key words, stay motivated, not just as a coach, but also for the players to stay motivated in the game. And when you and I caught up for our fabulous coffee last week, really one of the key things that you mentioned is that in a session, there's no excuse if a player doesn't get better. And even if that means low-hanging fruit, going for that first, you know, I think that's one of the keys to motivation, because if people can see improvement and see success, then of course they're going to be more motivated to want to improve. So talk to me a little bit about motivation and how that ties into this idea or notion of continuous improvement.
Yeah, and this is, you know, one of the key elements these days in coaching the Generation Z, as you know, the kids that's born 97, between 97 and 2012. They you know, we have to, sometimes they're not coming to the practice with motivation, and we say, oh, they're not motivated, and we think the kids are not the best kids. But I say, well, you know, what do we do to make them motivated? And that's where I think, you know, teaching, the way we communicate, the way we utilize technology, the way we see all of them, and the way you use positive reinforcement, that's the key element. You know, like before we did error detection, we were talking about corrective techniques and stuff like that, but you know, we don't do that anymore, because you know, we talk differently, we communicate differently, and that's the way we, first of all, we have to teach to make them feel that they can do things. It doesn't need to immediately get a better result, but they feel that, oh yeah, I now understand what to do with my backhand slice. So, and if you do this together with positive reinforcement, and you end the session with a lot of positive reinforcement, they will feel motivated. And so you are the key to make them motivated. And I know that a lot of coaches say, well, you know, the kids have to be motivated to meet me. I think we have to turn it around. I think that, you know, we have to make sure that we are motivated so we can motivate our students. And the way we do that is to get educated, to utilize technology, to really feel that you're updated, so you feel that you can handle, because this generation set is sometimes very, you know, they are not easy, because they can Google everything, so you can come up with a, you know, and take like a shortcut on something. You have to be updated, and you have to show them that you have the trust, and they trust you. So it's not easy, but I definitely believe that our job is motivation. It's like motivate someone to practice between sessions, between, so you not only meet them and you see them on the court, but they have to also try themselves. And it sounds a little bit like, well, that's what we do back then. But I still think that everyone that is getting better than expected, I think that they are practicing on their own. And if we can teach and we can motivate and we can communicate and we can listen, those things are key factors these days.
Well, let's just shift to the business world for a minute. I've got an idea because it's the start of the year and my brain is flying with ideas right now. But do you think there is a way for business leaders, as in business coaches, to even use technology to get feedback on the way that they manage and lead, to be able to then use this concept of teaching them potentially other ways of asking questions or empowering those who they lead? Does that sort of make sense? Because obviously our audience is both business and sports coaches. So I want to take everything you've said up to this point and ask you, can this apply to a business coach? What do you think?
Yeah. Absolutely, and Casper's sponsors, asked me to do, workshops with them, about, to talk about, what can we take from sports and tennis and into the business part and leadership, and I think first of all I talk a lot about, the small factors every day, the marginal gains, what can you do every day? And I think again that, the positive reinforcement is something that you as a leader should try more and try to see, well, if I let them get the feeling that today you did a good job and you feel that you can help them, I think this is what I think is the key common elements that you can do for sport and leadership and in businesses. And we know that in if you have a sales process in a business and you did not get that and you did not win that, that sales, I think sometimes you have to go back and think, what can I do different? What can I try to improve? Because in sports, as you know, we have to make that improvement every day. You can't just keep up the level. You have to get your level better at the highest, high performance. We have to get better every day. And that's the same way of thinking as you run as a leader in a department or a company. You have to think that everyone have to try to improve their skills. So if you lost a sales process or you lost the sales, you have to go back and see, what can I do different next time? Can I utilize technology better? Can I make better presentations? Can I listen more instead of talk too much? All that stuff that we know are important factors for being a good coach. So I think my experience from doing this with Casper sponsors have been really successful because they see and they understand how we work, but I also take some of what we do into what they do. And especially they like the fact that you can actually lead by positive reinforcement. You don't have to come up and say, hey, look and see what you didn't do. You can come up and say, hey, look and see what you do so well. And then that will lead into say, well, maybe I can also motivate myself to improve some of the skills that I'm not that good at. And that's how we, for the high performance, that are very, very hard, students to deal with, we have hardly shown Casper what he's doing wrong. We always take and say, well, keep doing this. And if he asks sometimes, say, well, show me when I do things wrong, then we probably will do that. But we are not coming saying, you lost the match and you say, here, make a mistake here, your weaknesses, boom, 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 you have to remember this and this. We don't do that. And I think that is what most of the sponsors were a little bit surprised that we did not run after him with all technology and say, hey, I show you what you're not good at. But we turn it around, say, look and see when you do this right, see and keep doing it this way. And I know this is tough for coaches because the coaches, they don't really see other than symptoms that they don't like.
Yep.
So they look at the player and say, "Oh, bad footwork." But and I in all courses now, I ask them to, can you please tell me 5 things that the player can do, and things that they can't do is probably because you haven't been teaching them that thing. So now they're not doing anything wrong. It's just that they can't do it. They have to learn it.
Yeah. Or not
So
yet, as I
yeah,
like
not
to
yet.
say. Mm.
So I think we have to turn it around, and this for business managers and leaders, it's the same. I think it's the same way of making sure that every day and every session is somewhere where people can go to the next level, and by telling them, and if you work in a team, you can get feedback from your team, and you can go to the next level. So I definitely believe that this is almost the same, and that we can learn from each other.
Absolutely. So, in 1 to a maximum of 3 words, what do you think makes a great coach?
Um, you have to be curious. You don't know. You have to be. What is the right word? You have to be nysgjerrig. What's that again? Yeah, curious. Isn't that?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Curious.
Then you have to be. You have to listen. You have to listen to your, and then you have to be energetic. You have to, because it's so important, because if I'm energetic, they will be. So if you can do those things, to be curious about, what can I do better? Why is this happening, and so on. And if you can be listening to see what do they really want, and then at the same time go out there and feel that, because everyone see that if you are low energy, I mean, they will be low energy. But if you are high energy, at least they have a chance to see well what high energy looks like. You can't be on the sideline saying, "Hey guys, work hard," and you look like you are dead.
Mhm.
So those 3 things is, and I definitely believe that this is things that you can work on. It's not like something you're born with. You can really go out there and feel that I want to know more. You can go out there and say, I want to listen to see my audience, what do they need? And then you can also go out there and say, hey, how do I look like? Do I look like, take a video of yourself when you present and on your court? Because I do that when I do level 3 courses. I put up camera and I ask the coaches, to see themselves, and they say, "My God, I didn't know that I was this low energy," and they all say that because they walk the line, and the walking the line is dangerous because you might send out the wrong message.
Mm.
So I like them to be more active, to put it that way.
Yep. Yep. So, talking of technology, the use of technology, I know that you've been utilizing video analysis for 30 years. So, let me go back and share a funny story. My dad was doing some work in China and he brought back this giant, like, camcorder, but it was like one of the smallest ones at the time. But it had this pop out side screen and you could reverse it. And so, therefore, on court, I could literally show people what without a video program, and it had a
Yeah.
slow motion button. It was one of the best cameras I've ever had. I don't know what he paid for it, but I'm sure it was probably pretty expensive back then. And I remember even when microfish, no, not microfish, dartfish first came out.
Roughly.
That was
Mhm.
like $5,000, and no one could afford
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
spend that money. Now, obviously, even the Technique app that Tennis Australia have. There's so many other ones out there. I think it's $9 or 20. It might have gone up now, but that's what I
Yeah.
paid for it. Um, there's really no excuse to not use technology. Talk to me about the evolution of that, and how often do you use it in your coaching? And maybe have you got a story
Yeah, yeah.
there as
I got
well?
plenty of stories about, video. It's quite interesting to see First of all, the technology and how, how this have been developing, and there are so many good systems, and all of the systems are actually quite good. But again, how do you? I'm definitely a big believer of you utilizing technology when the players are doing something right. Again, back to the error detection and to try to figure out what they do wrong. And if they do things right, pick up the camera and videotape them or take still pictures. Just say, well, now you see how you do things the right way. But then when you videotape someone, why I think so many coaches hesitate utilizing and using the video enough. I think that's because they're not sure what they're looking for. So you have to practice this back home. So what you should do is like take the video, go back, look at the player, and then tell them that next time I will be back, I will tell you what I think you can work on, put up a priority. Because in the beginning, when you see videos, you see symptoms. And if you bring up symptoms to them, it's like going to the doctor and you say, well, this is a symptom, and you treat the symptom and you don't know why it's happening. So we these days are so concerned that we first of all pick up the camera when they do things right, then you can show them right away. If you're not sure, bring it back home, take a look and see if the symptoms is you can find out why it's happening. So then you can come back and say, well, you know what? This is what you see. You leaning back on your forehand. And you know what? It's because the preparation is too late. So you are late, so you're hitting the ball late, so you lean backwards. But leaning backwards is a symptom. So go back home, sit down or be in your office and take a look and then get ready for the when you show the players next time. That's because so many coaches are so afraid of what do I see? I don't know what to do and so on. So try to say, well, just take a video, take a look, and then come back, show them things that they are good at, and then say, one priority. This is what you are going to practice now until I videotape you next time. And then you build on this again. Less is more. You don't want to come up with too many things. You don't want to tell them everything because, that doesn't make them learn anything. So there are certain things that we put into what we call a tech app course, where we say, well, this is how you utilize the apps the right way. And this is absolutely things that you don't want to do. So it's and I use it more or less every time I'm on the court.
Yep.
But it might be 1 minute, but sometimes it's a little bit longer. If I do a match analysis, again, match analysis, 150 points, I probably show the team of Casper 5 points. To say, again, this is what I think we can build on. And that's what I've been doing with them for a long time. And that's why, it's been such a good relationship for a long time. Instead, because I did not compete with the coach. I just gave him everything that he wanted, the father of Casper, and I did not ever go directly to Casper and say, I tell you what you're gonna do, So I didn't want to go like some other, maybe analysts are a little bit more into that to talk directly to the player. But again, when we do match analysis, understand how to communicate what your findings, through the team, through the coach. Make sure that you're not confusing the player by coming up with too many things. So that's the best way of utilizing technology.
And well, you hit on it earlier. You mentioned the word trust. By you doing that, you're living and breathing trust, aren't you? You're displaying that in the way that through the process. So talk to me about the part-time coach education role for the French Federation. When I went to visit Bernard Pestry back in, like, I was in my low 20s. I was so impressed with their match play, with the tournament scheduling and the level upon level upon level tournaments. I thought it was such a great structure, and we were talking about the role that you are playing. Can you tell us a little bit more about that and where sort of French tennis is at?
I think French tennis, as you know, they have so many good players. They have 1.2 million players, and there's a big federation. And I'm very humble when I every time I get there, because there are so many good coaches, and I'm not there to other than say, well, add something to what you already do. And my speciality is like, how do we take utilize technology and help coaches and players to put the priority on what and how do we work on technical skills. And when they are 15, 16, 17 and they are really good players, sometimes it's hard to find out how do we make them uh, practice and make sure that they don't have any weaknesses. Because if you have any weaknesses wanted to go into the pro level, it can't be done. So you need to make sure that before you're 15, 16, 17, at that time you have to make sure so that you add things to your game so you have no weaknesses. And that's what I do. So I go down there, meet the coaches that are working with the players, and we go together, we look at the matches, we look at videos, and we try to figure out together what do we do and what kind of priorities do we think that the different players do. So we go into serve, it might be slightly grip changes, it might be different ways. So we're looking into the biomechanics and so on. And again, it's a positive thing that they never, I at least feel that they don't feel me as a threat, that they feel me coming down there. It's like an addition to what they already do, because they are doing so many things right. So it's just that I think now with Ivan Lubicic, he want to see if when I come down there once a month, it's like adding to what they already do. And they have a brilliant technology department with excellent play, people working there. So it's just that's maybe 1% of what that I can add to what they already do. And for me, it's unbelievable motivating to be there and to meet all these fantastic coaches and work with them. So yeah, altogether, it's a very positive thing to do.
Yeah. I want people to also just maybe pick up on another theme that's coming out of this interview is value add. Even if a player comes to you, you're here to add value to them, to improve them. It's not about you and coming in and saving the day or even paying out on the last coach. I think that's an important thing, just to draw a line in the sand and say, hey, the future of coaching is value add. So that's something else really nice I thought I wanted to pick up on. And of course, it'd be remiss of us not to give Tina Samara a shout out, of course. Norwegian tennis, Tina played, for those who don't know, Fed Cup for Norway, and she was 220 of the world WTA doubles. And she, of course, sponsors this podcast, Transition Coach for Athletes.com. There are over 30 Norwegian players in the US college, maybe even more now, I believe. And she's playing a vital role in helping that. What do you think of the college pathway as an option pre going pro even?
Yeah, I think, this is what I tell in my, meeting with parents. I tell them the pathway. I say, well, you can play tennis for the rest of your life, and that's the most important part. But then of course if you're really good and you have the money, you can go pro just after you're 18, 19. But if you don't, go in to get the education and play tennis for 3, 4 years in the States. And they are very aware of that now. And we want that to happen with more players into the future, because, tennis in Norway has been like exploding the last, I will say 10 years, together with Casper, getting more better and better result, but also the fact that we did a very good coach education program for the past, well, I say 15 years. And then we have had a club development program. We have a great kids tennis program. So everything this adds up to very big interest for tennis. So right now we are sport number 7 in Norway, and we just need more courts, indoor courts. And that's why I think that if we can get more of the players that are playing on a decent level to understand the opportunities to go to the States, and you don't have to play on the very best divisions, but you can play level 2 and 3 division and have some years that are extraordinary. And I think that's what I tell parents all the time, that you pick the right sport, the kids will live longer. They will, be able to live a good life because they learn so many things, to build character through tennis, and then to be able to go to college in the States. That's what, for most of the kids, that I think they should do that. And if they're good, so good, and they like to play tennis every day, then try afterwards and try to see. And more players do that now, to go into college first and maybe try the pro later on. But again, now when we have Casper, that's been showing that it's possible to be a Norwegian player and to be, top 10 in the world. I think that more players want to do this, and we are getting the level is picking up all the time. So college is great. So and I think more parents understand this, and I will push this into what we call the coach education program now, very hard, and also for the parents' education.
Yep, absolutely. Well, thanks for sharing so many wonderful insights with curiosity, listening, and energy. I've really enjoyed the fact of learning about your ice hockey career. Coaching is a lifestyle, and the future of coaching is in teaching. Don't just coach, make sure you teach. Go for the low-hanging fruit first so that they get better day in, day out, to stay motivated, and trust the team, because every spoke in the wheel matters, doesn't it, as part of the team. Did I summarize our episode well?
Yeah, I think so. And again, the way, every time we meet, it's so inspiring, because, again, the way you also, the energy and the way we talk, I think that, and we have to help coaches, because sometimes to be a coach, you do on the court at 7 in the morning, and you're all day on the court. And sometimes it's a little bit lonely to be a tennis coach. So I think that, I tell every coach to say, try to figure out the network that you can talk and can help you stay motivated and energetic, because it's a little bit tough. We have all been there, where you feel, it's a little bit tough. The students are tough. The kids are not actually doing always what you want them to do. But that's why we need help, and like from you every time.
Yep.
It's inspiring to talk to you, and we go another day and another week and another month, and we have to help other ones that want to stay in the game, because we need more coaches to stay in the game of tennis.
We absolutely do. And we need leaders like you, humble servant leaders that are in service of the sport and to the people. So, yeah, just absolutely I can't think of a better way to kickstart season 7 of the Coaching Podcast. Øivind, can't wait to see you again, my friend. And thank you for being on the show.
Thank you for inviting me, and let's do it again.
Maybe even in person. You never know. Tuck, I can't say Tuck for Martin. I've just come back from Norway. I had to say that a lot. I had a wonderful time in Norway, and the Norwegian people are just very humble, and really, it's a really great country. So if you haven't visited Norway, this is also a promo for the beautiful country it is, and so many great coaches there to learn from, you included. So everybody, take care, and thank you for listening.
The Coaching Podcast is sponsored by Transition Coach for Athletes, a global coaching, mentoring, and US college sporting scholarship placement service. The service helps athletes navigate the often challenging world of choosing your best college fit while maximizing sports performance. Visit www.transitioncoachforathletes.com. If you enjoyed this episode, please leave a rating review on your podcast listening device. And don't forget to tell a fellow coach about the show. The ball is in your court to take action and enjoy your coaching.